Ask the Coach session. This is a first, though. It might be number 82, but we've never had it with 4 coaches before. So welcome, everyone. I'm Angela Cripps, the MD of the Recruiting Gym. I will get everyone else to do a short intro to themselves as well. Ask the Coach is all about sharing information, sharing knowledge. We've had 125 coaches now, and I'm glad to say 62% women, sharing their knowledge and information for you. So if you have a question for the coaches, then probably should have put it in the chat in the last 2 weeks. But if you've got a burning question, stick it in. If we can fit it in, we will. If we don't know the answer, we'll get someone on the next one that does know the answer. That's how this one works. Okay. Hi, Therese. Do say hello. Let us know where you're calling in from. I'm going to go international straight away and ask the lovely Jane Moors to introduce herself.
Oh, thank you, Angela. International, being all the way from Cape Town, South Africa. I feel very lucky to live in this beautiful, beautiful country and city. So hello, Therese and Sinati. I spend most of my time training companies to attract and select the top talent for their teams, which I absolutely love. And for me, so much of it is around making candidates feel valued and respected and courageous. And I also really enjoy helping people who are looking to build their career to find the confidence and the skills that they need to succeed in job interviews. And I love the world of recruitment. So I'm super excited to be here today with you, Angela, and Bob, Gary, Andy, this amazing panel. So thank you for your invitation. I'm really excited.
Yes, it's our pleasure. And the fact that we've got 4 new people, so actually that 125 has probably just gone up to 129 coaches, is fantastic. And as we say, from all over the world. So Therese, is that Paarl? You pronounce it, is it Paarl in South Africa?
Oh, yes.
Paarl, wonderful. Yeah, international audience as well. If you are over on LinkedIn, feel free to put the questions or anything in the comments there, but we'd much prefer you over here on Crowdcast so we can see you straight away rather than getting to you a little bit later while we're doing the both. Right, I'm just being honest there. Bob, not so far away in Kent, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Angela. And thanks for inviting me onto the panel today. I'm not anywhere exotic. I'm in sunny Kent. Just outside London. So, I've been in and around the recruitment industry, as Angela will know, for over 30 years now. Angela's my first boss in recruitment, which is her claim to, or my claim to fame, I guess. Working with Angela is great. Obviously, we've connected over the years and always kept in touch. My career took a bit of a fork in the road about 13 years ago when I started to work within the tech industry, specifically within recruitment. So my career is pretty much all been around kind of how I can make recruiters' lives simpler and more productive, and then more productive through the adoption of tech. So more recently, I've worked in the Salesforce ecosystem, and I work for a vendor called Assemble, who again produce a system that works really, really nicely on Salesforce for recruiters.
Fantastic. And all of the coaches' links are in the chat, so please do go and connect with them, find out a little bit more about them there. Gary, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes, well, hi from dark and gloomy Manchester today. It's not looking too great here, but thank you for the invitation. It's fantastic to be in such great company as well. So I'm the head of recruitment insurance at Vista Insurance Brokers. I'm a chartered insurance broker with 20 years experience. It's gone fast. I never like saying that out loud. And I specialize in insurance solutions for the recruitment sector. So we work with recruiters of all shapes and sizes, really get to understand their business, their concerns, their risks, and really kind of use that knowledge to help bring these 100-page insurance documents to kind of bring them to life somewhat.
Wonderful. So everyone's always got a link to recruitment, but we try to get as broad a breadth of coaches for you to answer your questions. So I must go through actually and have a look at all of the different industries that we've represented as well, because I think that will be fantastic. Hello to Lynn there from Durban. Oh, I love Durban. I've been there. Anthony McCormack, that's a name you know, isn't it, Andy? So last but not least.
Sorry, there's squeaking happening in my office at the moment. I've got an 8-month-old miniature Dachshund on the floor who's just woken up. So my apologies if there's any squeaks. Nothing weird going on here. Angela, thanks for inviting me. Very excited to be here. I'm the managing director of Team. I'm a recruiter at heart, a defence sector recruiter, 20 years experience in the market. I was a member of Team. So Team are a recruitment networking organisation that have been established for nearly 30 years. And we've got about 500 recruitment agencies, typically small businesses, solopreneurs, under kind of 30 heads mainly. And we provide a platform for them to network with each other at meetings, both virtually and face-to-face, split fees. And we've got some amazing suppliers like the Recruiting Gym in there as well. So I was a member for 7 years. It profoundly changed my life. That's the squeaking. Sorry. I'm going to go on mute in a sec and I'm going to boot her out my office. My apologies to everyone listening. Yeah, we're really, really excited to be here and be a part of this today.
What's her name?
You want to see her?
We do. We can't not. Otherwise, there's other people thinking, oh, look.
She's a sausage.
She's got
Lila.
Lila, welcome to Ask the Coach. We're all inclusive here. So you are welcome to join us. I had to do a meet the expert with my pug the other day as well. So yeah, we're dog lovers. We're happy to have her, definitely. Right. Yes. Teresa, so cute. Lila has stolen the show now. Right, there we go. Vanessa's saying she's already winning. Let's crack on then with these questions. So we've got them in the question chat. We'll click on those, start answering, and it will timestamp it. So if you want to go back and have a look at any other 82 sessions that we've got, and there's like one question, I want to know the answer to that, then here on Crowdcast, you can have a look, go to that question. It'll take you straight to it. As long as I've got the timestamp right. I don't always. So it'll be around there when I've remembered 30 seconds later. Oh, I've got to click the button. So here's the first one. Let's make sure we click the button before we go. And we're going to go straight in with Bob. So Bob, I'm going to bring you front and center. The question is, from all your tech background, we know AI is coming into every session at the moment because people want to know so much about it. But how good is it really? And how can it help improve a recruiter's performance?
Yeah, thanks, Angela. It seems to be very much the topic of the moment. And obviously in recruitment tech, you know, I kind of have to understand it and what the use cases are within, you know, recruitment specifically and how to kind of, I guess, evangelize about it. And for me, there's three key areas. There's the kind of search. How can we make the searches by using AI more effective? How can we make sure we get to the relevant candidates faster? You know, and there's automation in there as well in terms of, you know, I haven't got the time to search or just present some kind of candidates or jobs for that matter that could be relevant for this for my job, my role. Then you've got generative AI. We talked about it earlier, with Andy. You know, his kind of tool generating sort of almost a next best actions and summaries all around that. And then you've got the automation part as well, which is kind of, you know, how can I make the recruiter's life as easy as possible? And I guess AI, for me, really will never, ever replace the human element of recruitment. You know, again, chatted to Jane earlier on LinkedIn around that. And for me, it's kind of, I think it's, the analogy I like to use is if you go and buy a new car, it's a horrible cliche, but when you look at a new car, you've got a wish list of things. One of the things that you won't have is to have it driverless at the moment. And that's kind of where we are with AI. We will never replace the human element because it can't make, you know, subjective decisions based on kind of, you know, real-time data. However, you know, for me, again, it's more making the recruiters more productive, making their life easier. I mean, again, I don't know about you, but I don't wake up in the morning and say, oh, I must look at my CRM and update my admin. That doesn't get me excited. And I challenge anyone on this webinar to prove me any different. However, if I wake up in the morning, I think I can't wait to see what new candidates my new AI tool has suggested or where I should focus my business development efforts today. That for me adds real value. So I think, you know, keep close to AI. Everyone, it's not going away. It's like the internet when that first came out, or LinkedIn even. You know, we didn't have LinkedIn one day, next day we had LinkedIn. So, you know, AI is going to be around for a long time. It's just, how do we mobilize that data? How do we use that practically is really the challenge. So yes, it is good, but we need to be really, really careful in terms of how we kind of, you know, use it in recruitment.
There is the good, the great, the getting rid of the admin side, the helping people with dyslexia and all of these opportunities, isn't there? But of course, we know there's always a dark side to everything. So we need to make sure. This was a topic that did come up on our Hiring Happenings with a Pestle Twist, our podcast that came out this week. So I'm going to stick the link in there to the YouTube, and if anyone wants to go and have a listen to that with Wendy McDougall of Firefish and Rohit Kapoor of Pager, really sort of digging deep into this topic. But I'm glad to say, in recruitment, we do tend to be early adopters, don't we? I mean, people like you obviously love a bit of tech. So when it turned up, when it was coming out for everyone, what were your thoughts, Bob?
Yeah, I guess I was always wary. For me, recruitment's always about people. It's always been about people. And again, you know, you and I in the early days, it was kind of, you know, face-to-face interviews back then. It was kind of you got a natural feeling and a rapport built through kind of your interactions with candidates and clients. And I think for me, I was a little bit nervous, a little bit pessimistic around the AI and specifically within recruitment, whether that would change the recruiter's role, you know, and I think it has, and I think it will. But it just, again, it's just about managing expectations for businesses to make sure that it's not all about AI. However, it's just, you know, what are those use cases and how can it practically essentially make the business more money? And it's really down to those kind of core kind of processes that you want to automate that humans don't want to do. You know, it is that, you know, dictating a call like this is invaluable. Recording an interview and transcribing that into actions, next best actions and summaries and all that sort of good stuff. It's about managing the workflow to make, you know, if you're an average graduate joins a recruitment business, they really, you know, AI can support that. As you say, you've got disabilities in there as well. You've got lots of use cases. It's just making sure. And again, leading on to perhaps taking, you know, stealing Gary's thunder, there is the state of New York is the first state in the country, in the United States, that's brought in a law around AI in terms of its use. So it is being taken really, really seriously from a kind of legislative point of view. So we need to be aware. We just need to be very aware of kind of, you know, how we.
Our government sort of said, yeah, everything's fine. And then about 6 months later went, no, we'll have some legislation. Thanks very much. So that's all happening. Jane, did you want to add something to that?
I didn't right now,
sorry.
but I did
glasses on.
So I thought you didn't know if you want, because I love what you're saying, Bob, around how we've got to be really careful about how we use it. And remember that our business in particular is really all about people. And I've been reading so much on LinkedIn, and I know Vanessa also even shared something this morning, just that annoying feeling when you get an email to you that is clearly generated by AI. And I think Hung Lee also said it's just that unfair expectation of you just sent out 1 million messages and I now need to personally respond to this. It just breaks trust and breaks down a brand and breaks down connection. So I love what you're saying.
Definitely. Yeah, Andy?
Can I add to that? I've got 462 unread emails in my inbox. So what I will say...
Is that from the last hour?
But yeah, pretty much. This book, I've said this before on a couple of like these webinars and told loads of people, but this book came out in February. It's called The Algorithm, How AI Will Hijack Your Career and Steal Your Future. If you're in recruitment and you're thinking about AI, or you're more importantly, you work with clients that are embedding AI into their recruitment process, you must read this book. I think it's the most important thing you can do this year is read this and get involved on it. I think it's amazing how some businesses now are using it to knock out recruiters, but also like it's affecting the recruitment process so much. And we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. I've said to a lot of our team members in our networking meetings, like, have you asked your clients what AI they're using? because their AI might be knocking your candidates out of the opportunity to interview with them based on algorithms they've developed for existing staff or stuff that isn't up to date. Like, it's really, really important. So that's my little bit of advice.
Wonderful.
Hilke Sheldman is the author.
I'm going to stick that in the chat. I always spell algorithm wrong. Hopefully it'll tell me if I've spelled it wrong. Do it from there. That's fantastic, because yeah, it can do so much of our job, just not all the human bits, which probably is about 70%. So if we can get rid of the 30%, that's the admin and the detail, I'm happy with that. We're happy to go with that. Gary, we're going to go on to question 2 that sort of links onto this. So I'll click me done answering, start on the next one. What are the risks that come with automation and AI? So let's get into that so people have got better understanding.
This is where I get to be Mr. Negative. As we talked through, AI, automation, they do represent kind of fantastic opportunities, and particularly in risk and compliance, a lot of people are outsourcing those back office functions, onboarding, background checks. We're seeing kind of contractors automatically kind of sign into site when we get there. But I mean, generally, automation, it's nothing new. It's been around forever, and the risks are the same as they always have been, really. It introduces that ability to rapidly make the same mistake over and over again. And Jane really kind of touched on this before, in that anybody watching this webinar will be able to go into their emails or into their LinkedIn messages and quite quickly find a message that says, "Hi, open bracket, insert name here, close bracket." The ability to be able to send a message to thousands of people at once, actually just, if not done correctly, can just do more damage than good. And I mean, even today, I had an email from a company that was an oops email. Ignore the last email we sent you. Here's the email you should have gotten instead. So you do have to be very careful with that. And I have seen instances whereby, I've actually seen a kind of libel claim come from this type of thing, whereby a junior consultant has gotten hold of one of these tools. He heard that a company was in financial trouble, wanted to kind of connect with their employees, sends the email out to all their employees on their database. The next thing you know, the claims coming in. So you do have to be really careful with it. And another example, I've seen people get in trouble with the Home Office on the 20-hour rule for overseas workers. They think the system's set up perfectly, but in certain circumstances, it wasn't flagging what it should do. They've just left the robots and the machines to it, and that's caused them problems. So there's the ability to rapidly make the same mistake over and over again. It does introduce the ability to be defrauded. As soon as some people see that a process is automated, they can work out how it works and take advantage of that. So we see that with things like invoice fraud, people sitting in people's systems, watching the way you work, and then taking advantage of that. I mentioned before, background checks. If people can work out what's being checked, they can introduce fraudulent documents as well. So yeah, the ability to rapidly repeat a mistake, the ability to be defrauded. Also, and this was touched on a little bit before, unintended consequences. It's from a DEI perspective, it can be really useful, but if unconscious bias creeps in, then again, you are industrializing that kind of same mistake, that bias over and over again, not on purpose, no malice, but we do expect to see claims from that in the future. And, we see claims now to do with, discrimination and the like, but again, that could really scale up. And touching on the human element as well, Jane mentioned that, recruitment is about the people. And we mentioned about removing these admin tasks. Well, you might have an admin team there in situ already. What are they going to think when they see increased automation? How is this going to affect staff morale? So as these things are introduced, it's making sure you manage the message as well. You make sure you are communicating with the kind of key stakeholders in the business so that everybody's on the same page, understands what's happening, and that fear doesn't creep in. And one final point I'll make, ChatGPT, it is open source, so be careful not to put your data in there. Definitely don't put anybody else's data in there. That is a data breach. So yeah, overall, I don't just want to be negative on here. There are, it does help from a risk and compliance perspective. There are lots of advantages, but it is it's proceed with caution.
Yeah, it's going to be watch this space, isn't it, with regards to the legalities and people being taken to court over it. Bob, I'm thinking of a time when we nearly got taken to court. Again, it was less technical, more cut and paste, but still same type of thing, isn't it? Sharing other people's information in that way. And yeah, please do take note. It's called Open AI, Open Chat for a reason. The clue is in the name. Everyone else can see it. So I bet there's been people that have done that, put their company data in or something, trying to get reports created for it, realizing, okay, everyone else has got access to that now if they want it. Not great at all. So let's think of the positives, but be aware. It's like with anything, isn't it? It's cybersecurity still. We're back with that. I was on the session yesterday with Security Everywhere, Francis West, doing cybersecurity and how to get people training on it. And the key point there was it's got to be from the top down. So like you say, with the AI, it's got to be the senior people do need to understand what it's all about and set policies for their business as to how they want people to use it, because otherwise it is just going to take off and people will be using it however they want, which may get the company into trouble. May is the question. But thank you for sharing that. We do need to know it. You're right. We all get excited about it and then we go, oh, wait a minute. Taking it from those. Brilliant. Thank you, Gary. Let me click me done answering. Okay. Oh, BD, something that has been around since the dawn of time. So Jane, let's get you on for this one. We all know we should be doing either BD at the moment or focusing on sales as an agency, developing relationships with stakeholders for in-house. They do BD as well. We're about half and half our membership of in-house recruiters and agency. So what advice can you give to someone new in the industry?
Oh, that's such a good question. Thank you, Angela. And I agree with you. It's something that has been around since the dawn of time. And, I think some of us in the room have been around for 30 or odd years in recruitment and might remember those little tickler boxes before.
Yeah.
Wow. So things have definitely changed. And to your point, Gary, I think AI definitely comes into the BD kind of side of things. And so if you're starting off in recruitment and you're wanting to develop your business, it is a time with AI being so prolific that you're going to want to take hold of those tools and use them to the best of your ability. And something to be really careful of is that you're not losing that human connection, as we've been saying. In fact, somebody sent me an email the other day, and it literally, it's a company that I know, and they had dear, and then in brackets name, and then underneath that, dear Jane. And I sent them a message. I was like, friends, just to let you know, this is how your email is going out. And they were like, thank you so much. Because it's, So I think on that, if you're doing business development, look at how AI can help you. But please remember to be your own person and to trust your own voice. I think especially when we're new in any industry, it's so tempting to hold on to what other people have said and what other people have done and, using AI tools. But what is really going to connect you to your clients and to your candidates is you. And you have a unique voice. And sometimes you might need to dig a little deeper to find out what that voice is. And to remember, I think what I always try to train people on, whether they've been in the industry for a short amount of time or a long amount of time, is why are you in it? What are you really in it for? Because if you're just in it to make a target, that's going to come through with people, and you're just going to get busy and you're going to burn out. And so the first piece of advice, I think, for any new recruiter is don't forget to work on yourself. I was actually chatting to a very experienced recruiter this morning, and she's a recruitment manager. And she said, Jane, I forgot about me. And when you forget about you, then you lose the energy and you lose the connection behind what you're doing. And then you just get busy and burn out. So use the scripts, but make them your own. Use the automation, but let it assist you. Don't let it replace you. And be personal in your connection, not so personal that, as one client said, please don't ask me what I'm cooking for dinner, but be personal enough to think about, what is the best way to connect with this client or this candidate or this in-house stakeholder? When is the best time for them to connect? What is the best way to connect with them? Is it via email? Is it a call? Is it WhatsApp? Is it LinkedIn? Let me try and understand what's important to them and connect with them on that platform, because they also have targets. They also have things to achieve, and they're looking for someone who can support them in that. They're not looking for another outlet for their energy where they need to give. So I think that feeds onto a second really strong piece of advice slash recommendation is hone your active listening skills. Sometimes I find people come into recruitment so excited about everything that they want to give and so full of, let me tell you why I can do this and why my company can do this and all these wonderful things about my company, instead of breathe. Ask questions. Listen carefully to what's important about your client and about your candidate. And then only share the information that's going to be valuable to them. That's going to create a connection and help you really be satisfied that you're adding value and you're not just running along as fast as you can doing a job. And I think in that, remember that we're in a team sport. All of us are different. All of us have got different skills, pieces of experience, things to add value. And again, sometimes when people come into recruitment, I find a lot of people can think, but I don't have any recruitment experience and I don't have any recruitment skills yet. But if you think about it, you really do. Everything you are and everything you've learned, whether it's in recruitment or not, you still bring in as a value add. Knowledge is not the main thing anymore. That we can all get online. What's really important are the transferable skills and your attributes, like resilience and curiosity and agility. Those are the really hard things to train. And those are the things that make people really successful in recruitment, especially in business development, which can be so discouraging because, it may take a few no's to get the yes. So I think in going back to that, in remembering that it's a team sport, work on you, because only you will be able to create those connections and network if you're coming from a place of authenticity and not script. So those are my pieces of advice for now, Angela. I don't know if anyone else has anything that they would like to share.
Well, I love them straight away. I mean, that we're a team in a team sport really hit home with me, because you do find new people coming into the industry. It's overwhelming. My post this morning was the fact that it's 10 jobs in one. Yes. But actually, I was like, what have we missed out? Because I wrote that post in a series of posts 10 years ago, and we're adding more. And we're like, yep, that's part of it as well. It can be quite overwhelming. So if you see that you're in a team sport, then that makes it so much easier just to start with. That lifts off from there. Bob, what did you want to add?
No, I'd absolutely, I think the points that you make, Jane, sort of remind me of myself, really. I mean, Angela will know the reason I got into recruitment many years ago is because I guess kind of personality wise, we got on. I like dealing with people. I was a temp working for Angela's, one of Angela's consultants, and I was in the office every day and I was chatty and kind of, I think that's what Angela saw. But then 30 years later, I'm still learning. And, these sorts of things, the advice that you give is so pertinent to me. I'm working with a coach at the moment around kind of sales. And one of the key things he told me the other day, which really worked for me, so I'm still learning at the ripe old age of 55, is ask one question at the beginning of a meeting. And it's, what is a great outcome for you today? And that's it. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing that works, because they just offload everything that they want to achieve in that meeting that you don't know. And it's the same in recruitment. Ask that question, when you're, in the business development sense, why is it you're looking, to talk to me today. What is it that I can do for you? And just leave it to them to explain exactly what it is. And it's such a small sort of tweak to the way that I work, because I can talk till the cows come home, right? And that's a great skill. And as you say, it's an innate skill inside me that not everybody's got. So I kind of capitalize on that. But what I'm really bad at is listening. And, you know, there's a difference between listening and understanding. And, you know, so, yeah, I really thought your piece resonated with me. Thank you.
I'm going to stick that in there as well, because, yeah, that what is it that means a great outcome for you today?
Yeah,
I love that.
Don't like, you just started the meeting. You've maybe introduced yourself, but the first thing you ask as the host of that meeting is, what is it would be a great outcome from today's call for you? And leave it, and you know, and almost sort of count to 3, maybe 5, because it's so tempting as a salesperson. You've got the answer. You know that they, you know, whatever it is that you've got, they want to buy potentially. But that's the trap that we all fall into. You just need to pause and give them time to offload exactly what it is that you know, they want to achieve from that call.
Well, talking of a team sport, Bob, I think you've got your own personal cheerleaders over on LinkedIn. So I've got 3 people shouting, Bobby, Matt Jelly, Twain Henry Lucas, and Sheridan Kidd, all on there. So I hope you know them. From those,
yeah, they're good friends of mine, all very good professional friends of mine, but also very sociable friends of mine, should we say, as well.
Fabulous. Well, that's the perfect link for Andy from Team for your question, the fact that we are a team sport. So your question then around what are the benefits / opportunities for networking with other recruiters? Shouldn't we all be competitors? Thoughts?
You think that, right? Before I start, that was Bob. That was one of the best lines I've heard for ages. I've actually written that on my whiteboard behind my laptop, and I'm going to use that for every meeting going forward. And I'm going to feed back to you what I get from it. That was brilliant. That was similar to one I heard once about candidates. You should say to your candidate when they get their interview, their first question should be, "What was it about my CV implicitly that got you to select me?" To start off the interview with like positivity. Anyway, and back to my question. Sorry, Angela, going off piece there.
That's okay. Love it.
Opportunities. What are the opportunities for networking with other recruiters? So I was interviewed by Firefish as well at the Rec Expo, and that was a question that Wendy asked me. Because like when I started in recruitment 20 years ago, Blue Arrow days, your competitors on the high street were that. Like everyone used to go along, look in everyone's windows, look on their A4 cards and try and work out who their clients were, and you know, try who their candidates. And it was a very sort of very competitive space that you didn't want to collaborate with people. Fast forward to kind of where we are now, or the kind of philosophy behind Team is that, you know, working together with smaller businesses, like really empowers you if you're a solo business owner. It'll empower you if you can collaborate, network, share ideas with other small recruitment business owners as well. But really similar to what Jane said as well, like I was nodding my head furiously there, but like team sport, like the amount of combined knowledge that you can get in a network, in a room, if you're networking with other recruiters, like their path, their career, all of those little things they've learned over their however long they've worked in recruitment is accessible when you take the decision to network and collaborate and spend time with other recruiters. Really empowering. I mean, I've got loads of examples. We've got a solo group in Team. So there's over 500 recruitment agencies. There's 130 that are solo business owners. And life for them sometimes is really lonely. You know, when things are going great, then it's amazing. But when things aren't going great, they don't really have, you know, if you're not in a network, you don't really have a space where you can ask questions, have shoulders to cry on. You know, I've got a client acting this particular way with regards to a candidate, or what would you do in this scenario? So sort of, you know, networking, the opportunities for networking with other recruiters is that opportunity to say, well, what would you do in this situation? You know, and we're very careful of who we let into Team. It's a very trustworthy environment. But if you can find a network, you don't have to go to Team. There are other recruitment networks out there. But if you can find a space where it's safe for you to have those conversations. That the knowledge you can tap into is amazing.
I'm loving the links between, well, one that our coaches, Bob, you suddenly went, whoa, I didn't realize, Andy, you were Blue Arrow as well. That's 60% of us. We're from Blue Arrow. There's something in that that we're here and we're supporting our industry. It was definitely a great ground to think about collaboration. But you're right, we were always trying to find out other people's companies, and I decided when I went to Maidstone and where Bob was, that I wanted to collaborate with people because we wanted more business, and we knew there were some other agencies that would have clients that we wanted to get into. So why not collaborate? If they can't fill all the positions, we wanted to be the second tier. And this is when sort of managed services and neutral vendors started coming out. So probably mid to late 90s. So that collaboration piece, I used to go and walk into other agencies when they opened up, new agencies, and ask them, what do you do? What sectors do you do? What are we the same? And okay, we'll be mindful of that. But what do you do that we don't do, that we could pass candidates on to you, and vice versa? So there's no reasons why you can't. And team's been going, what, 30 years?
Yeah, so celebrating 30 years on the 7th of June. So been going a long time. And, you know, the way that our network has evolved and how recruitment has evolved over those years as well really goes hand in hand. You know, when you talk about collaborating with other people on business opportunities, you know, if you pick up tons and tons of work and you're a solo or you're a small business and you can't physically fill it, would you rather tell your client no, and then you've got the opportunity of them to then go somewhere else to a bigger agency that will then put lots of people on the account? Or would you rather pick up the phone to someone that you might have met at a networking meeting? Oh, we got on really well. I've picked up this amazing client. I've got a lot of work on. Would you like to work with me? And we'll make 50-50. You know, we've got a couple of stories where people have done that in team. One within COVID, where someone picked up a ton of work of someone that she met at our conference, having a coffee, decided they wanted to be best friends. She picked up a load of work, and over the COVID period, they were filling roles in like COVID testing facilities together. They made 250 grand each in 1 year, working together, collaborating. You know, there's a couple of solos in team that help support other businesses when they pick up loads of work, make 100 grand a year each, filling other people's roles. So having that support mechanism behind you, and also, you know, there's so many new recruitment agencies in the market. You know, we've had more startup recruitment agencies over the last 12 months than we've ever had before. If you're in restrictive covenant and you can't touch any of your old clients, what a great opportunity to work with another recruitment business that's got a load of work on, get some money, get some bills paid whilst you're waiting for your restricted covenant to come up. You know, it's a really, really strong selling point. I didn't know about it when I was in restrictive covenant for 6 months, and I had not just me, but I had a team of 9, and my restricted covenant covered all of their clients as well. So I was totally locked out of most stuff. So, you know, it's a really, really big opportunity for a business if they've got someone not even in the same market. You know, recruitment's recruitment, but if you've got a similar skill set, it's a great opportunity there.
Yeah, collaboration, I must admit, is one of the things I enjoyed the most about our industry. Bob, what about you?
Yeah, no, I think absolutely. I mean, team for me, that whole kind of community that you're building there is excellent, and I think it kind of resonates with me because the way that I work, although I'm not in recruitment anymore, is I'll work very closely with my competitors. I know what they do. I know what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. I also know what mine are. So when I come across a client that is kind of not a good fit for what we do, then I'll reciprocate. I'll pass that lead, and also those competitors will reciprocate. So we get a lot of this mutual kind of sharing of opportunities, because again, we want to make sure that our product is a good fit. So what we do generally will suit kind of medium to enterprise clients. So, you know, I will always pass over, and some of the guys that are commenting on LinkedIn are friends of mine because we partner together. You know, we don't sort of see each other as competitors almost. We see each other as, you know, professionals in our industry, and we know what works and what doesn't. So I think, you know, what you're trying to do there is perfect, absolutely perfect. And as Andrew says, it's been going on for years, but it's in little sort of fiefdoms of businesses, and to try and create that is great. So I really love what team are doing. I think it's fantastic.
Thanks for
well, let's bring
that.
Jane into this as well. And Jane, you've got your own supporter on LinkedIn as well, Michael Smith, going, woo, Jane Moors. So what would you like to
Thank you for the encouragement. Yeah, I think something else that I really love about networking and, you know, seeing what I do as a team sport, no matter what I'm doing, is it energizes me to feel like I'm doing meaningful work and I'm really enjoying it, because I really love meeting new people and learning from them. And I find that in the process of working towards a goal, or even just working together or meeting for a virtual coffee or whatever it may be, even now today, this is a team sport. And I feel like just by watching other people, just by being with other people, I'm absorbing and learning and growing all the time, because everyone has got so many qualities that I can learn from and that we can all learn from. So for me, it's really energizing and it helps us to be more resilient. So I love it.
Well, I hope we've convinced a few people that maybe if they have been very competitive up until this point and thinking of the opposite way of dealing with competitors, maybe then, opening yourself up a little bit and a little bit more of a viewpoint that actually we could collaborate rather than be competitive. So consider that today. Right. We need to get on to our last question. So Gary, you are up. We're looking to expand overseas. I'm glad this question came up. Our next Ask the Coach, get a quick prompt in now, is our Oceania special. Every quarter we do a special on a location. So the Africa special we did earlier in the year, which was a riot because I got kicked off a crowdcast twice and they just carried on themselves, which was brilliant. It was funny. So Oceania, we're heading to Australia, New Zealand and all those islands in 2 weeks' time. Sorry, Gary. Let's get back to you. We're looking to expand overseas. What should we do before we consider starting this process? Because the world literally is our oyster in recruitment, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of going back to the automation piece, there's lots of good opportunities here as well. And I think at first it's really kind of taking a step back and working out, what does overseas expansion look like? There are kind of, it is a full spectrum. So right now you might be a UK-based agency employing staff in the UK, making placements in the UK. They're all subject to UK law, kind of very confined within the UK. But overseas expansion might be, we're starting to make placements into France or Germany, still from your UK base, and kind of getting going in that way. And it's really, from an insurance perspective, it's making sure you are aware of what's covered, what's not, and really what your options are for that. And I'd kind of, you do have to be careful when it comes to the contracts as well. You might speak to your insurance broker and they'll say, yep, you are insured to make placements into kind of Germany, France, the US, wherever it might be. But that doesn't mean that they'll respond to a claim in that territory. If your contracts might be subject to kind of German law, French law, or maybe even American law, then that itself might be excluded. So it's important to make that distinction. And then taking it one step further, are you then actually looking to move operations overseas? So it's no longer just that UK-based, that UK-registered company. Are you looking to register a company overseas? That's a whole different ball game, really. That's when you really need to, it's tricky. You do need to duplicate your knowledge. All those laws and regulations you've come so used to in the UK and spent so much time researching, you've got a whole new set to deal with. So it's absolutely vital that you get the right advice to deal with that. And kind of going into Andy's point about a network, we're part of an international network and we'd be absolutely lost without that. We've got all these different brokers across the world we can connect into and get that specialist advice. And it simply wouldn't work without that, because, even after kind of 20 years, 30 years experience, you don't know it all. And I think they call it the Dunning-Kruger effect. The more you know, the more you realise there's a whole lot I don't know. So it's making sure you've got that network, that support. And I mentioned the USA and Canada there. Of course, a lot of people expanding that way at the moment. From an insurance perspective, that is particularly a proceed with caution. Sorry, cat just jumped into the window outside. It is a
an animal one.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of insurance policies will exclude the USA and Canada in particular. Claims costs are so much more higher over there, and there's just so much more of a chance that somebody will take you to court. So if you are looking at the USA and Canada, work out the insurance costs beforehand. And one other point I was going to make, and going off on a bit of a tangent, of course, if you start traveling overseas, you need to consider travel insurance. And here I'm linking it back to really the personal directors. So it's important to get kind of business travel insurance for yourself and your employees if you're traveling around. But a couple of news stories recently have jumped out. First of all, there's been a couple about pre-existing medical conditions. People traveling on holiday, something happens, and it turns out they didn't mention a pre-existing condition. Very unfortunate circumstances. What you will find is on a business travel policy, that will include free leisure travel most of the time for the directors, and they don't include those conditions. They just say, as long as you are not traveling against the advice of a medical practitioner, you're okay to travel. So it's a real kind of added benefit there for directors. And the second point I wanted to make on that was Co-op Live in Manchester. I don't know if you've seen all the chaos there's
happening. For the international people, if you just want to explain what's going on with Co-op Live.
Yeah, so the venue was supposed to be ready a couple of weeks ago. It's not been ready. Concerts getting cancelled at the last minute, and it's not just the cost of the tickets. People travel here for these concerts and they're left absolutely devastated when they're cancelled at the last second. And it jumped out to me in an article today that it mentioned that these people don't have travel insurance. And why would you go into a gig, you don't arrange travel insurance, but if you've got an annual travel policy there that covers you personally as a director, you've got travel insurance in place automatically. So whilst most people have kind of missed out, if you're a director of a company, you've got business travel insurance, give them a call. You might find that you've got some cover.
See, I've never even considered this. I've been traveling the world. I think I've worked in about 25 different countries now for the last 10, 15 years. I've never had business travel insurance. I've always had just personal insurance and made sure it covers everything. It's obviously a good one. So what's the difference between business travel insurance and normal travel insurance?
Yeah, well, normal travel insurance, it's normally, from Frank, a kind of cheap and cheerful policy bought online, whereas a business travel policy, you take it out for the business, it covers the directors, it covers the employees from a business perspective traveling around. But because it is a business policy, the cover's so much wider, they're not expecting your potentially hundreds of employees to all declare their pre-existing medical conditions, so they don't have that condition in there. And you find that the insurers you're dealing with, they don't just deal with people traveling, to Europe or kind of America or the rest of the world, wherever it might be. They'll also be set up to deal with people traveling to disturbed locations or maybe offshore platforms. So it's real kind of serious cover for real serious incidents.
Yeah, and that could be a great opportunity as an extra benefit that could mean a lot to people. So we sort of started off with the expanding overseas, and when you started talking about expanding into France, the French laws are a law unto themselves, definitely the employment laws. So if it is something, I love the idea of doing it first of all from where you are and making sure that you build a business. We've always said that if you're looking to expand, then start at least 6 months to a year before you make a move to that place. You need to be already doing that. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for all of your input. I think that went quite slickly considering we were on there. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Let's try and move you to the main stage as well. So to all my guests, thank you for sharing your knowledge and your information. We've got a few action points from this one, haven't we, that we're going to need to go away and do, all of us. Andy's got his written up on the wall already. So thank you for that. Cats and dogs as well. You got a bit of everything. Wonderful. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you back in well, I might see you back in 2 weeks' time. Depends where you are in the world. It's 4:30 a.m. here in the UK, as it's our Oceania special. So if you're an early bird, feel free to join us. But if not, we'll probably be that side of the world a little bit more. Or if you're up late in America, why not join us? There we go. Wonderful. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Angela. Thanks, everyone. Bye, Layla.